So yeah, good afternoon to this webinar on Böëna Wilderness Lodges in Costa Rica, and one that is particularly special because today I want to introduce you to the owners and overall managers of Böëna Wilderness Lodges, Flavia Loeb and Adrian and Garcia, and also Greivin and Alvarez, who is the sales and reservations supervisor. Many of you will know that we worked with Luz and Roberto in the past when it came to Böëna Wilderness Lodges. Flavia's father, Jack, he has always been a partner, generally with Böëna Lodges, with Luz and Roberto. And then they recently left the company in December to go on to do other things, have a bit of a relax, that kind of thing. And so Jack and his family now own the whole business, and his daughter Flavia is kind of taking over. She's got this amazing amount of enthusiasm and respect for the brand, particularly kind of, the sustainability side of things. And she's also, well, her and Adrian, her husband, are very receptive to what our markets need. So our European and UK markets. And so it's really great to be able to introduce you to them. And they will take you through the 4 lodges, of which you probably all know fairly well already, and also the Cloud Forest Lodge, and a bit about Explore Air. And then there'll be time for Q&A at the end, but if you have any questions just going through, please don't hesitate to just pop them in the chat box, and they can answer as many questions as you like. And Greivin is also here for more of those kind of intricate details of the lodges, if you want to know kind of like room sizes or air conditioning types and things like that. So Flavia, over to you. I'll now put this on speaker view so that you can start presenting your presentation.
Thank you, Nicola. Thank you for the introduction, and good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining us in this webinar. And yes, as Nicola mentioned, we are super excited to be here with you today, to be in this new adventure with Böëna Wilderness Lodges, continuing the legacy and taking Böëna to a whole different level that I think none of us can imagine where we're capable to get. So to present ourselves, as Nicola said, I'm Flavia Loeb. I'm the sales marketing and strategy director, and I am leading right now a 10-12 person team, and we are very open to all the requests, questions, changes, and things you would like us to consider for the future. And yes, I hope that through this presentation, our vision and energy can be conveyed to you. Adrian?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adrian Garcia, and I am taking over technology aspects of the company. So we're making sure that final customers, agents, tour operators, and in general, the world has the most availability of tools, resources, and different channels through which people can research about their trips, their vacations, and the process of booking either directly, a person that can book directly, or through an agent, or the information that is available for a tour operator is in every form and shape that is needed, so that everyone can have the majority of what they need to plan their vacation. Happy to be here and introduce you all to the group again, kind of a refresher presentation, and then answer some questions that you may all have. Unfortunately, we're not able to visit the UK this month because that was the original plan, but Flavia is pregnant, so we were not able to confirm this trip at the last minute. So, but certainly with the help of Nicola and Senderos and the entire very nice team that we get to work with in the UK, we plan to be there soon to visit most of you or a lot of you, and create a more profound, a deeper connection with all of you guys, a personal connection, which is the fun thing about working in this industry. Okay, well, we're sharing our contact information here, so happy to take any emails, questions that you may have on any particular questions. And I will share Greivins also for the future. We're also on LinkedIn and all the social media channels, and in case you want to find us. Okay, let's move to the next. This is a super short history on the group. So actually the first lodge was started in 1986, a while ago. Pacuare Lodge, our iconic, amazing hotel at the border of the Pacuare River. So it's been a long history of starting with this original hotel, then moving to own La Barrios, also the other very iconic hotel, Costa Rica, both Pacuara and La Barrios, to also to continue British language are kind of the crown jewels of Costa Rica, not just of our company, but really of pillars of the history of ecotourism in the world, and still very well known for that particular history. During the pandemic time, we were able to expand the group with 2 hotels in Monteverde Lodge and Cloud Forest Lodge, in combination with Tortuga Lodge, which is in the North Atlantic part of Costa Rica. In total, we have 122 rooms and over 2,000 acres of land that is in permanent conservation. And the other day, I was trying to make some math in relationship to how many rooms we will be able to fit in 2,000 acres of land, right? It would be thousands of rooms, but we decided to keep the land primarily for conservation, permanent conservation, and we only have 122 rooms. For those of you who are wondering what does Böëna mean, the name, this is a name in an original indigenous language in Costa Rica, one of the few we still have, which is the Cabecar language. And it means, literal meaning is well-being or getting well, not in the sense of medicine, but in the sense of feeling better after something, right? So that's the original the origin of the name. In 2023, there was a new, really cool addition, which was the acquisition of a plane. We have a Cessna Caravan plane, which is a typical plane we use in the around the equator in this side of the world, the adventurous plane, which we're now using. I think we have some pictures later in the presentation. We're using for guests to take them to our properties or other places they're going to afterwards, or where they are coming from. Let's move to the next one, please. Our 5 pillars. This is the recipe, the piece of paper that we all have printed on the side of our desks, and the way we operate. I'm not going to read it all, but in general, we attempt to bring to guests this experience of connecting to raw nature, and that's what we consider luxury, right? It's not luxury itself, it's really the opportunity to connect to one of the most biodiverse places in the world through locations that we have secured, and people can enjoy that. Adventures, certainly, for all types of guests. We have the very strenuous 20-kilometer walks and horseback riding and very physical intense activities, but also very, very nice, calm boat rides in the Tortuguero riverbanks to explore nature and everything in the middle, right? So we attempt to have a very wide menu of adventures so that folks can enjoy sitting down reading a book the entire day. I have seen some guests do in the pool sometimes and relax, but also for those who want to do whitewater rafting and very intense activities, there's also a lot of that. Our facilities are built to, of course, be very comfortable spaces for guests when they arrive, after the tours, or when they want to have a really nice dinner or lunch next to the forest or to the river. they're certainly made to be this place of that you almost feel at home, right? It's not a place where you even need to change your shoes. You can just go as you finish your tour and enjoy a really good time. Authentic human connection. This is important because folks in general, guests always make the note of how they enjoy the interaction with. I don't think it's not just our staff. It's the personality of Costa Ricans that are always very authentic, very warm in the way they interact with their friends or with their family members, or in this case, the guests in a hotel. It's really this authentic connection that people enjoy having during their stay. And last point, yeah, related to our conservation efforts, sustainability, as you know, for Costa Rica, and we're not an exception, and our group is at the core of a lot of the things that we do. So the ability to keep this paradise, these permanent conservation pieces of land that we enjoy, sometimes next to national parks, is very important for us in the day-to-day operations. Let's move to the next one. You're very familiar with Costa Rica, I'm sure, but just a refresher of the map. San Jose, the capital city, where one of the international airports is located. The other one is in the north, Liberia. It's called Guanacaste International Airport. Those are the arrival or departure points of people. San Jose is actually very conveniently located because it's in the center. It's in the very dead center of the country. And then that's where we start normally the trips. There's various different types of combinations of itineraries that one can build as you do in your day-to-day. And we're going to go over where our properties are specifically located and some ideas in how to create these itineraries for guests. The little lines and the planes that you see there are regularly the routes we use for our little plane when we go to the hotels part of the group. Let's move to the next one, please.
Yes, so now I'll take over from here. Thank you, Adrian, for your introduction. And now we're gonna make a brief overview of the different hotels, lodges that we have, and some other highlights. So I will start with the Pacuare Lodge, which is my background. And here it's located at the banks of the Pacuare River, and it's one of the top 10 rivers for white river rafting, and it's known for Pacuare Lodge is known for having one of the coolest experiences, because as many of you may know, you actually raft in and you raft out of the hotel if you want that. And if you prefer, you could also get there by a helicopter. We have a helipad, or you can get there through a four-wheel drive, and then you actually have to cross the river in one of these small baskets to get to the hotel. So for me, it's just amazing to imagine that everything that is at our lodge has to come in either through the river all the way down, or you actually have to cross the river to get there. There is no possible way to get, let's say, to the door of the lobby by car. So to imagine this and to actually put it in perspective, when we're gonna see the pictures of the lodge, I think it's just it blows my mind, right? Also, Pacuare Lodge is a virtuoso property, and we have 20 rooms in 5 different categories. Let me see if I can make this smaller here. So the Villa Jaguar is our largest room. It can accommodate up to 5 people, and it has 2 full bathrooms. And then this is our canopy villa, which would be our most private villa. It's great for honeymoons or romantic getaways, because as you can see, it's in the highest part of the lodge, and it has its own hanging bridge and platform So it's a really cool experience to experience being in the middle of the forest with all this grandiosity surrounding you. Then here is a view of our Linda Vista Villa. And the amazing part of this picture is that the decorations that you see here, let's say the back of the bed, the lights hanging, these are all made by the Quebecer indigenous community that we have next to us. So we really try to bring the culture in our hotels and really make it a very big part of us. So I don't know if you know, or just a refresher, in Pacuare, it's everything is included, right? So it's full board with the 3 meals, the transportation from San Jose, the rafting in and out, and the experiences that you can do while you're there. So you can do canyoning, you can do canopy, there is bird watching, there is hikes, you can have a back tour of our sustainability programs, and you can also just do a short 10-minute walk and get to this amazing waterfall. And all of these tours, we completely operate them. They're operated by our staff, following the most rigorous safety guidelines and assuring small groups of people so that everyone can really have this, you know, private experience and really enjoy it as they should. So this is an image of a indigenous Quebecer person. He works in the hotel, and I think, I don't know if you've, how many of you have been to Pacuare, but most of these people really live 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away, depending on how quickly you are walking. And they walk to the hotel every day in and out. And there's actually a tour where you can walk, you can hike, you can get to their small town. They invite you over, they can cook you their typical food, and you can really see how they live. And I think just having this experience and having, you know, the Quebecer community is fairly small. It's only about 14,000 indigenous in Costa Rica. So having the opportunity to visit one of these people's home is really an amazing one. But you do have to be in a bit good of a shape to actually get there. And then we also have a spa, which is next to the river. And I don't know, for me, it's always been really relaxing to sleep with the sound of the ocean behind, or getting a treatment in a spa, but actually having the river sound behind is really one of my favorites. And we offer, you know, signature treatments in most of our lodges as well. Pacuare also has a pool where you can do laps. You can actually swim, and it overlooks the rivers, the river. And then we have a really nice restaurant. This is our wine cellar. It has over 85 different wine labels. They are all chosen very carefully by us to have a very particular exclusive selection. And the food that we serve is farm to table, very high-end, let's say, food in the middle of the river. And then this is a view of our second floor, which is above the restaurant, where you can actually, you know, relax. You can have a drink, you can play board games at night, and you can have the chance to connect with other guests that are staying at the hotel. So now we were here at Pacuare, and we're gonna go to Tortuga, which is one of the connections that you could actually offer very well. This to connect. You would actually, depending on if you're going from Pacuare to Tortuga, you would have to leave Pacuare by car and then be able to get to Tortuga and get to Tortuga by boat. But you can actually do this in a day. And if this is something that you're interested in, we can then share more details. So when we get here to Tortuga is in the northern Caribbean part of the country, and Tortuguero basically means like the region of turtles. And interesting facts, every time that we see the data for Tortuga Lodge, we always see UK as our top guests visiting the lodge. So thank you for that. And we call Tortuguero the Amazonas of Costa Rica, just because everything is connected, you know, through the canals of by boat. And there are 3 options to get to Tortuguero. So we can, the best option and my favorite one would be you can actually fly to Tortuguero. And this picture doesn't show it as well, but this picture was taken from our restaurant. So it says here that it's 5 minutes to the hotel. It's actually 2 minutes from the hotel. So you can fly here in 30 minutes and then 5 minutes away from our lodge, or you can drive yourselves up to the point where we pick you up in the boat, and then we take the guests by boat, or we can actually organize the whole package of picking up the guests in San Jose, taking them to the pickup spot of the boat, and then taking them into the Tortuga Lodge, which is an amazing experience by itself as well. So this is a bit of how the lodge looks, very colorful, very, you know, the Caribbean style of it showcasing here. It has a swimming pool, and this is the Miss Florentina Villa. We only have one of these villas in the hotel, but it's our most exclusive and the only room that has its private pool as well. And it has 2 full bathrooms, and you know, you have like the main room, and you can make the other room, which is like living room, it can accommodate up to 2 people as well there. So it's a villa made for a family of 5 or a romantic getaway as well. This hotel was completely remodeled 2 years ago, and we have 29 rooms in 5 different categories. The rest of the rooms are basically first or second floor. Some of them have a day bed depending on the category. They also have a hanging bed in the balcony, and yeah, it's personally my favorite hotel. And this is a floating spa that we have, where you can get the signature treatments that we've talked about. Then in Tortuguero, as well as I mentioned in Pacuare, you can have the full experience. So the whole package that includes the transportation once you are in the dock, right, to get to the hotel, and it includes the food, it includes experiences as well. So personally, my favorite one is also the one where you can connect, and this one has an additional cost, but you can actually connect with the culture and the people in the community. So it's a tour that consists of getting into the boat, going through the canals, then you jump into a kayak, you kayak through smaller canals, and then you walk 2 minutes and you get to this lady's house that she lives there with her family. She made homemade tortillas, you know, she made you eggs, she made coffee that probably she was growing there, and you just experience how they would have a typical breakfast, a typical lunch. And I love to take gifts and presents to her children that have been to the city maybe once or twice. So we try to have all these experiences where you can actually see how the communities live, and where they are eager to open the doors for all of us to showcase what it's like to live in this small beach places that we cannot even imagine how amazing they are. So also Tortuguero is a great place to see a whole bunch of species. You can see 3 of the 4 monkey species that we have. You can see the green macaws. It's home to the manatees. Even it's very difficult to see them. I have never been able to see one, but if you're lucky, you might be. And then also very well known for the turtle hatchings, which the season goes from August to November. And a question that we get a lot is it 100% sure that we will be able to see them, you know, nesting or hatching? And even though nothing is 100% certain, I can say that if you are in the right season, it is very probable that you will be able to see this. And I would say this is one of the top reasons to visit Tortuguero. So from here we go to Tortuguero.
Brief interruption, but yeah, fun fact. I was talking to Nicola the other day that for the first time in 2024, in Tortuguero especially, the UK surpassed the US as our #1 origin of guests in absolute numbers. So this is fairly important for this conversation because, of course, we welcome a lot of guests from the UK, but in this particular year, we were very positively surprised that the #1 spot was taken by your region. So that's great to hear, and we hope to be able to continue to provide a wonderful experience for all the guests that you're helping to plan the different trips and vacations that they're planning. I see a question by Vivian, and yes, please do ask questions. And while Flavia speaks, I'll attempt to answer over the chat.
Yeah, actually, Adrian, we can do that, but it would be good to have the question spoken out loud so that everybody can hear it. So maybe we do that either now or at the end. And just to say that I think about half the people attending are also from our German speaking market. So just so you know.
Wonderful.
That yeah, the
It's
UK
a growing market, so it's great.
Yeah, exactly.
And Adrian speaks fluent German, so we can even communicate with you guys in German. So that would be great.
Okay, so we'll do the question at the end, but let's carry on with the presentation now.
Thank you, Nicola. So from Tortuga, we're gonna go down to the Pacific south of Costa Rica, La Barrios, and you can actually fly, and just flying from Tortuga to La Barrios is a whole experience, and let's say tour on its own, right? So when you arrive to La Barrios is located in the Osa Peninsula, and it's known as one of the most biologically intense places on Earth. And Osa is home to 2.5% of the planet's biodiversity. So if you think of how tiny Costa Rica is, and then imagine how tiny this piece of land can be, and for it to have 2.5% of the planet's biodiversity, it means that it is very intense. And then here we're also in front of Golfo Dulce, which is a tropical fjord. So you can get in La Barrios a very good sense of both, let's say, land mammals and all the different marine species. So I would say that La Barrios, because of its location, the best way to get there would be by plane. It's a 50-minute plane ride, and then it's about 45 minutes to get from the airstrip to the hotel. You can also drive. It's perfectly, but it will take you around 7 hours from San Jose to our lodge. And then here, I told you in Tortuguero, you can see 3 of the 4 monkey species, but in La Barrios, you can actually see the 4 monkey species that we have. and the red macaws, which we called Lapas, which is the name of the hotel, are one of the most seen species that we have. So you are basically taking a shower, taking a nap, having a coffee in the balcony, and you will just see lapas flying everywhere, and it will just blow your mind. And then for the marine species, you can see a combination of them. So we have a turtle season. We have the humpback whales, which you can see from July to September. And then also you can see dolphins, sharks, and rays. So from the restaurant in La Barrios, if you are lucky, you can actually see the whales in the ocean if you are in the season. You don't actually, maybe you didn't even take the tour and you saw them and you were lucky enough. So that's pretty cool. It's also a great spot for surfing and for pro surfers or for people who are, taking their first steps in surfing as well. And one of the good things about this here next to the nearby La Barrios is that it's not a very touristy packed place where you will have all the surfers and the very crowded beaches. It's more of like a virgin area still, so you have a lot of privacy. So now we get to Monteverde, where we have two properties. So let's see. This is the Monteverde Lodge, and Monteverde is pretty cool because it's the continental divide. So it actually divides the continent into the Pacific and the Atlantic, okay? So there is tons of biodiversity that you can see here. It's actually great for seeing the quetzal bird, which a lot of people go there to see, but it's also, so it's good for bird watching, it's good for nature hikes, and it's also good for canopy and more adventurous types of things. You can also do hanging bridges and pretty cool. So this is our lodge at night. This is our restaurant, which is one of the best restaurants that you have in town. And our lodge is surrounded by gardens and trails where you can do not really high intense hikes, but you know, lighter hikes that you can have. And then these are some of our amazing dishes that our chef prepares and that you will be able to eat at our lodge. This both restaurants in our lodges in Monteverde are open for the public as well. So these are our Mott suites. In total in Monteverde, we have 31 rooms in 4 different categories, and they all have air conditioning. So this is just a view of the bathroom. This hotel has been fully renovated as well, and this is the first time we will be sharing this. It's a sneak peek, but we will be having a new room category. We will start with one, let's say, villa, so it will be more of a private room, and we hopefully will have this in May. It's gonna be completely ready, and we will obviously try to do it in the times of the day where our guests won't be very disturbed by it. It's not a very big intervention that we have to make, but we will be sharing renders and more information once we have it, and it will be a higher category than what we have today. So we are very excited to be able to take Monteverde up to 32 rooms in this specific hotel. We will also be renovating our spa and probably having a coffee shop and renovating also the pool area to be able to have a better service in our swimming pool when our guests are enjoying our heated pool that we offer, which is something that our guests really enjoy. And then finally, we go to cloud forest. So many of you may ask the question, not the right question. The question that we get is, what is the difference between Monteverde and cloud forest? And personally, the way that I would answer that question is, in Monteverde, let's imagine it's a whole, the same building. So you are looking at the cloud forest and at your surroundings from inside. You are protected, but you can actually see the amazing views from the inside. Whereas when you get to cloud forest, it's different, let's say, strips of rooms that you actually have to walk outside to get to the restaurant and or to the main building. And so cloud forest is more simulating a small original town in Monteverde, and Monteverde Lodge would be more of a urban, let's say, style hotel, which is right next to town. Okay, so cloud forest, this is the rooftop, and if you are lucky, you can see the Gulf of Nicoya, which is here at the end. Then this would be our restaurant with a chimney, very cozy, nice environment with our wine cellar. Monteverde Lodge also has it. And then here we have 3 different room categories. And I don't remember exact. So it would be 25 rooms with king or 2 double, or with king or queen beds, and yes, with the day bed. So this would be Cloud Forest Lodge. And then to end, we have the Explore Air, which this is the plane. This is how it looks like. You can actually get to all our hotels by our plane. And from there, you know, depending on where the airstrip is, it would be either a 1-minute ride to the hotel or a 50-minute to 1-hour drive to our hotel. Also, an important thing to consider with our plane is you don't only have to use it to connect Böëna's lodges. So you can use Explore Air if you are connecting one of our lodges to another lodge or hotel that is not operated by Böëna. It can take up to 6 passengers, and it has this executive layout with, you know, ergonomic leather seats, air conditioning, and you know, safety is the most important feature for us. So it will always be flown, I don't know if that's the right verb tense, I'm sorry, with 2 pilots. So this is our plane, and we hope that you can start enjoying it. And then finally, I do want to mention that sustainability continues to be a very big pillar and focus for Böëna, and we really want to be able to pass this on to you guys, to our guests that are visiting. And when we think about the vision of Böëna going forward, is how can we transcend to future generations? How can we empower both our communities, our team members, our guests, in knowing that they can make an impact in conserving our world, in making sure that future generations will be able to enjoy it even more than what we have enjoyed it. And because of this, we focus on the 4Cs philosophy, that is the Long Run's Foundation philosophy, where everything is centered around community, conservation, commerce, and culture. So, you know, we basically, everyone that works in our lodges, we try that they are from local communities, and we promote local sourcing and commerce as much as possible. As Adrian said, we generate our own clean electricity. And if you would like to learn more about the specific initiatives that we have, everything is in our web pages, or we are more than happy to connect you as well with our sustainable manager so that she can share more information. So this is what we had for you today. I know I speak fast, so I'm sorry, but I wanted to make the best use of time possible. And I hope this was a really good refresher for all of you, and that you will be even more excited to continue working with us. As I mentioned in the beginning, we are open for business. We are open for exploring opportunities, for building itineraries with you, and really just making sure that all the guests that you send to our hotels will have a life-changing and very great experience. And you can really trust us that this is our mission, and that your guests will be in great hands, and that we are open to work out things.
Thanks so much, Flavia. If you want to stop sharing, then perhaps we can see everybody. Oh, amazing. Thank you. Yes, it was probably my optimism that meant it was going to be a shorter presentation. But of course, we wanted to hear so much about all of your lodges and needed to hear all of that stuff. So thank you so much. It was a great recap, and I think for everybody, it was great to have met you guys as well. Now, we do have a couple of questions from people. So the first one was back in the Tortuguero one. I can't find the question because you've all been answering the
oh yeah, sorry, the chat was active. Congrats to Vivian and Sarah for winning the prizes. Wonderful.
Oh yes.
Also,
Yeah, that's great news, Vivian and Sarah. So yeah, we'll get you those addresses so that you can send
I
them their
see
gifts.
Katie
That's great news.
asking Tortuguero, September, October.
So can we go back to Vivian's question first?
Oh,
Sorry.
yes.
So
Okay.
the luggage theme for Tortuguero, are there still restrictions for clients how much they can take with them? Yeah, so I know we discussed this the other day. So yeah, luggage going to Tortuguero.
So we try that it doesn't surpass the 30 pounds, but it's not like a very strict answer. I mean, if people have heavier luggage, I think if we know beforehand, then we can try to accommodate it as long as we have that information and we can consider that in our boats. Right, Greivin? That would be the right answer.
That is correct, yes.
Thank you.
And also one additional update on that, maybe not for this first half of the year, but certainly for next year, and ideally in the second half of the year, we're gonna have a little store, a little like shop inside the lodge where folks can buy not necessarily souvenirs, but gear, you know, like they forgot their wind jacket, they forgot their raincoat, or this their swimming trunks or whatever, you know, that we're gonna have a little store where people can purchase all these things that are needed for adventure. Because the luggage question sometimes it relates to how I'm gonna go to 2 or 3 or 4 locations in Costa Rica that are different. Travelers get bit stressed. You know, what should I pack? I need to pack like 4 different type of shoes and sneakers and sandals and all of this. So we're gonna attempt to help some of these guests by providing additional shirts or things, jackets that they would need for their trip. And of course, they're going to be Böëna branded, and they're going to be really nice and comfortable.
You can look just like the staff then, if you want to. Like the guides, you can probably pass off to be a guide.
Yeah, but that's in the plans.
Like an assistant. That
We're happy
sounds
to share
great.
that. Yeah,
Nice
sometimes
idea.
they're gonna go out fishing on a fishing trip, or they're gonna go out surfing.
So sorry, Adrian.
Shirt.
I'm really sorry. We've just got a couple more questions.
Go
Just because
ahead.
we've run over by about 20 minutes already. So another question was, all properties are non-smoker hotels, aren't they?
So yes, but what we are doing now is, and I know this can be a very controversial theme, we are trying to find places in the hotels where people can smoke, but that it will not get to any of our rooms or our guests. So we are currently finding those places where they are, so that if there are guests that want to smoke or have a smoke, then they will be able to do it. But we will guarantee that no other guest will be having to smell the smoke.
Interesting. And are they adults only resorts as well? But I know that's not true, but there are limits for ages on things like the rafting, and La Parrillos has a kind of, what are your age limits at the hotels?
Yes, so for the Monteverde Lodges, there is no limit. For Tortuguero, it's 3 years and up. You can go. For Pacuare, it would be 7 years old, and for La Parrillos, it would be 6 years old. And of course, I mean, if there is a kid who is 5, almost turning 6, or things like that, we can accommodate them. And I would say that basically these age restrictions are more because of what they will or not what they can or cannot do in the lodges. For example, if you take a kid to Pacuara, then he might not be able to do most of the experiences, right? So we don't have a nanny service on site. So what will happen with this kid? So that's basically the consideration that we have. Oh, I'm sorry. Tortuga does not have an age limit. It's just that 3 and above, they pay a kid's fee. So Tortuga has no age limit.
Okay. Thank you. And I think there was one message about leaving
quick
luggage. Yeah.
quick note on that. One slight change we introduced last year is that we are happily welcoming children in with more things that they can do, tours, toys, things like that they can enjoy. Flavia and I have personally taken a few guests and doing little kitchen tours, and they have the chef do cookies with them and so on. Of course, in combination with our honeymooners and folks that want to take it easy, read a book. So this is our job to make sure that every type of guest enjoys a very good experience, but ideally we want to be able to welcome almost every type of guest, including smokers, for example. So I wrote something in the chat. By law in Costa Rica, smoking is prohibited in hotels, but we are creating, and this is what other hotels do, a little place on the edge of the property where folks can go and smoke happily and do whatever they want to do. So we're attempting to create the spaces to be able to welcome and the experiences to welcome almost all sorts and type of guests.
Great, thanks. And Julia had a follow-up question about the luggage on Tortuguero. Is there somewhere to store the luggage, kind of where you before you take the boat, or is that not possible?
I'm not sure of that answer.
We don't have a storage place currently, so that's why we the weight limit is more like a recommendation. But that's why we always try. I mean, if someone has more, just let us know in advance. We'll make it work and make sure that we have the space to carry it.
Because I think the idea is that it's very rarely asked about locally, and it is a restriction that is there, but it's very rarely enforced. But of course, you know, this is where the communication sometimes has a few issues. So does anyone have any more questions
Question
for
or
any of
comment,
us?
or maybe while folks have any other questions, we had some recommendations for you. Yes, Costa Rica in 2024 and 25, we expect it to be very full, especially, of course, during holiday seasons and so on. And although we have 5 hotels, we are relatively small. It's only 122 rooms, right? So for all of you that are in constant communication with your customers, potential travelers, this is a recommendation that we normally attempt to give to guests on the question of the Caribbean in September, October. So one example is when everything or a lot of things are full in holiday season, attempt to recommend, hey, why don't you go in September, October to the Caribbean side? It's an amazing time to go. It's actually the best time to go. So attempting to create itineraries at different times during the year. Of course, it has to coincide with vacations and breaks and all of that, especially for families. But that's one thing that we're seeing, that folks are enjoying coming in different months, so that they can find more alternatives, sometimes even better prices, better promotions. That's something that we have found recently. For Ulrike, Sie haben eine Frage. Oh, I switched to German, sorry. Can you visit Corcovado National Park? Yes, you can visit Corcovado National Park. It's almost next door to us, but there is a process that you have to follow to book the tour. It's a national park, it's a government property, so we have to get the tickets, we have to figure out how you're gonna get there, and there's different routes that you can explore Corcovado, right? There's for example, walking tours. I haven't done that personally. I want to do it this year. There's a really long walk, really cool walk around the beach, around the edge of the park.
But I'm sorry, basically you can, and our team will help you coordinate the whole Corcovado tour that we offer. Yes.
It's a big park, so there's various options, but yes, we normally help customers explore it.
Any other questions?
In Tortuguero, there is a neighboring national park as well with the same name, Tortuguero National Park. And also the property can accommodate different combinations of tours so that people can enjoy visiting the park with a guide on their own, short, long, or whatever option that's also possible to accommodate.
Great.
Depends on what your traveler wants to do. Sometimes they want to see birds. Sometimes they just want to do some exercise and do a really long walk. It depends, but we can accommodate all of those different choices.
Would you have German-speaking guides at all at any of the
There are
lodges?
German-speaking guides in Costa Rica. We don't have them on staff, unless
But if
I
they
am
were
personally
requested, perhaps
there.
maybe.
But that's a good question. We're happy to investigate further. I'm sure we can find German-speaking guides. Yeah, there is a lot of folks coming from Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and German-speaking folks from all over the place, all over the world. So we're gonna, Vivian, take your question and inquire a little further. It's a good question. Yeah.
Okay. I'm afraid I've I've actually got to head off at the moment. I've got another training session, but it has been amazing. Thank you so much, Adrian and Flavia and Greivin, for taking your time to. Oh, we're just one more question. Are there promotions available? Oh, yes, there was that. So this is something that we're looking at, Cohen, together. At the promotions and combinations of the lodges and how best it is to market that to our markets, and how you can pass that on to the clients. Obviously, it's something that works for other hotel groups very well. It perks up clients' interests. It means that they get to visit more than one Böëna Lodge in their trip, which is always a benefit, if not all 5. Or 4, I should say, really. You don't want to go to the same 2 in Monteverde. But yeah, it's something that we're looking at together, and we'll be able to send you more information on that soon.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thanks all. And we're gonna continue to share our contact information. This is a family-owned company. This is something that we take care with a lot of passion, with a lot of work. So happy to be your direct contact in case you have travelers or questions or things that you need. Do write us directly, and we'll coordinate through Senderos or ourselves. And if the person from Germany wants to come and have a personalized German tour of birds, I'm happy to do my best attempt to do that. If not, we'll find a guide. But thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you,
And we'll-
Nicola, and thank you everyone for joining. And please reach out with any requests that you have. And it was a pleasure sharing our morning and your afternoon with all of you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys. Speak to you
Thank you
soon.
all.
Pura vida.
Thank you.